Hi guys, this is Code and Tell, where we bridge the gap between technical interviews and real-world coding to help coders like you prepare smarter for interviews.
My name is Josué Cedeño. I'm a software engineer based in Fort Worth, Texas. Today we are joined by Stephen Souvall, who currently is using the .NET stack. And as you all know, during interviews, you will be asked lots about the solid principles. And so today, Stephen's going to join us to talk to us about the single responsibility principle.
Thanks. So first letter in solid, S, single responsibility principle. So basically the idea is that an entity, so like a class or an object within a program, should really only be responsible for one thing. It should really only have one very specific influence over the program, and more specifically, it should only have one reason to change. So I guess I'll show an example of this in my code. I have two examples really where, one where I've used it, I think I've used it well. And this is for me, having not been in this for so long, this is an evolving understanding for me as well. So I've got an example. First, I guess I'll show of when I didn't do a very good job with it. So this is like, it was a challenge take-home thing for a job interview that I did. But basically the idea of the app was you're given all three sides of a triangle and calculate the angles of the triangle and calculate what type of triangle it is by side, what type of triangle it is by angle. So, if I go to the app, basically if I'm like, hey, side 1 is 5, side 2 is 6, and side 3 is 10, then it would do all this. So if I go into the code, so I've got my basically home controller for this open.
So you're using MVC for this project, right? Or for this application?
Right.
Okay,
right.
Cool.
So this is MVC. So I've got a triangle model, and I've got like a triangle results model that I built. And then I'm taking the requests to and from the view in this home controller. So, in this app action within the home controller, in this post, HTTP post of the app action, I'm basically doing everything. And part of the reason for this, that I did it this way, was because I had like 24 hours to do it. So it was a little bit of a fast effort, but, looking at this, we're doing a lot. I'm calculating all the sides. I do inject a service, a triangle service, which is like an implementation of an interface. So I do a lot of the calculations, kind of removed from the controller, which is what I have open here. So like calculating all three angles. Even this could be kind of a little bit more succinct, but yeah, ideally, I think this really breaks the single responsibility principle, because this one class, this one action within the controller is calculating the sides. It's doing like decisions, like if the triangle's false, we're going to return this. If the triangle's, if it is a triangle, we're going to return that. It's assigning values to the instance of triangle. It's giving the results. A lot of this could be, we could create a lot of like helper classes and utilities to sort of like I could basically, instead of just putting side 1, side 2, side 3, convert to double, I could have a method in a utility folder somewhere that's like convert to double, and I could just have that injected in here and say, or calculate angles, and just give everything to this method and have it do that and give me the result back. That's an example of a time I don't think I did that very well. So I've got a lot going on here, but one thing that we do a lot of within the bug tracker is determining, because it's a multi-tenant application, determining, grabbing all of the tickets for a company. Everything needs to be under the umbrella of the company that is kind of the owner and the user of that application, of kind of their subscription of the application, or whatever you want to say. So, there's a lot of methods that we need to run to get all the tickets for a company, or get all the projects for a company, or get all the users within a company. We don't want to just go hit the database and get everybody. We want just the stuff for the company. So we've got this interface, BT, let's see, where are we? IBT company info service that's implemented into this class right here. so this only has one responsibility, and that is, I mean, it's got a lot of methods, but basically it's its only responsibility is to kind of grab information about the company. Then within this, we have methods that only do one thing. So this method, get all members async, only, gets all of the members within a company and then returns them. And that's it.
And one thing that I like that you said was it only has one reason to change. And I think that's something that's a really important definition when it comes to the single responsibility principle. So in this instance, like the company info service, like the reason to change is you're only querying the database and returning values from the database, right? Like that is like purpose of this particular this class, right? And specifically for information related to the company, from what I'm gathering from it. Yeah, right? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's its only reason to change. It hits the database and it grabs only the info under this umbrella of this one company that is the user of the application, or that's like kind of the umbrella of all these users, the tenant of the application.
So if you had to, since you had both instances now, of course the first one was done because of like a time crunch, and the way that it was done. But now that you have a better understanding of single responsibility principle, how would you kind of summarize your experience for the users who are watching this?
Single responsibility, I think with any like design pattern or rules like solid or MVC or dry or any of this kind of stuff that's sort of like these acronyms that we live by, you have to be careful not to apply them. They're guidelines to live by, and I think that they, in most cases, make a lot of sense to implement. But I think, maybe it makes sense in some projects to really go deep into it. Maybe others, it's a simple enough application that, we can just take care of stuff with one method, or we don't have to worry so much about it. I think there's context to every project and every application that you're running and every company you're working with where, you really want to apply it to the situation and think, what is going to make this code most maintainable and readable for these users? I mean, that said, single responsibility, it makes a lot of sense. It keeps things very clean. I think having worked, because I developed all these applications when I hadn't actually had a job yet as a software developer, and now working on a professional code base as a developer for a company, I'm seeing even more like stuff is done. This is even a lot of stuff in one method. Everything is really, really dialed back into like, responsibility is very small for each class, and there's a billion different classes. And I think, sorry, this is a long answer to your question, but I think there's...
No, it's good. Thorough is the right word.
Yeah, thorough. I think that there's a lot to be learned about these concepts, and, it applies uniquely to every situation.
Awesome, cool. And just so everyone knows, Stephen, you just got hired, right? You've only been in your job for a little bit, right?
Yeah, I think I'm on like week 4.
Cool, that's awesome. And so this is a really cool opportunity too. If you are looking for a job right now, this is the type of answer to an interview question that you're going to want to model as well, because Stephen's obviously done a really good job of answering this question about the single responsibility principle. And hopefully that's a really good model for anyone who's looking to get into a career in tech. So thanks, Stephen. Thanks for answering the question.
Yeah, thanks for being here. It's great.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks. It was fun.
How would you answer today's questions? Leave us a comment in the comments below, and thanks for watching Code and Tell. If this has been helpful for you, like, share, subscribe, and if you want to connect with us or Stephen, the links to our LinkedIn profiles are in the description below. Thanks, and see you next time.